Welcome to the Vantage Fit Corporate Wellness Podcast. This podcast is sponsored by Vantage Fit, the all-in-one AI-powered corporate wellness platform developed by Vantage Circle.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Vantage Fit Corporate Wellness Podcast. I'm your host Dipshi, and today I have with me a wellness coach, Ananya Bhattacharya. Welcome to the show, Ananya.
Thank you so much, Dipshi. I'm honored to be a part of Vantage Fit Corporate Wellness. And yes, I am really, really honored to be speaking about a very, very interesting and common topic of remote, for our remote employees, because post-pandemic, we all know that the rise of remote work has really gone up in leaps and bounds. Thank you, Dipshi, for introducing me.
We are so glad to have you here today, Ananya. Thank you so much for giving us your time.
Thank you, Dipshi. Same here. I'm honored too.
Amazing. So before beginning with our topic, can you introduce yourself to our listeners and tell us about your wellness journey?
Basically, I have been completed my master's in food and therapeutic nutrition back in 2002. And I have been working as a dietitian, as a nutritionist, and trying to find my own niche. And which I understood after a lot of corporate jobs is that corporate jobs were good for earning money, but that work-life balance and satisfaction, I came to a point where I thought that satisfaction would only come when I do something for the community. So right now I'm trying to work around and work with people who really need to balance out their work-life balance, their daily routines and habit formations, basically reform and retune into their habits. So I am working around them and trying to create a healthier community and a well-being without much stress on, with all the virtual apps right now. It is so much more easier actually to do things, but still the basic problem remains in place, which is that people are not able to reform their habits, and reforming the habits is of vital importance when we already know where the fault lies, where the flaw lies. We just have to reverse it, but it's not as easy as we are speaking about it. It really takes time. It needs a lot of patience, a lot of self-motivation, and a mentor basically who can help and guide you through the process. So I basically do that mentorship in the process of health journey, or in transforming your habits, in transforming your wellness journey towards a better and fitter you.
You have a very interesting journey, Ananya.
Thank you, Dipshi.
Yes, so let's delve into today's topic. So let's talk about the key factors that contribute to the well-being of remote employees.
Right. So basically, since we have to, post-pandemic, we all have to, most of all, become a part of remote work culture, which is definitely very different and outside from the traditional office environment. Here are a few basic pointers which I felt is super important to, for contributing for the well-being of remote employees. One, first and very importantly, is work-life balance. Second would be communication and collaboration. Third, technology and infrastructure, especially for remote employees. Fourth, mental health and well-being support. Fifth would be professional development and growth opportunities. And sixth is inclusion and connection.
Okay, so can you throw some more light on the various factors you talked about?
Definitely, Dipshi. So when we talk about work-life balance, whenever we are staying at home, at home parent or at home partner, and trying to balance out our work life and professional life and personal life together, it becomes crucial for a remote employee to balance their work life and juggle between. So setting clear boundaries between work and professional life will actually help you prevent burnout, Encouraging time management strategies, hence, is very important. Defining a dedicated workspace is very important, and ensuring a regular breaks is very vital for the remote employees achieving a sustainable balance. Number two, communication and collaboration. When we talk about effective communication and collaboration, these are the cornerstones of remote work success. Because when we know that the employee has the necessary tools and platforms for seamless communication, it becomes much more smoother for the employee to collaborate and communicate with their colleagues, because we are not regularly meeting them in the office. We are at a virtual office space, right? So encouraging regular check-ins and creating the bond and connection is very important for communication and collaborative efforts. Number three, we talked about technology and infrastructure, and I think that is one of the most important factors when we talk about the contributing factors of well-being of remote employees, because reliable technology and stable infrastructure are essential for remote employees to carry out their work effectively on a day-to-day basis, right? So employers should try and provide the necessary hardware, software, technical support to ensure smooth operations. Also, access to secure network system, remote access and tools, training on cyber security best practices are also critical to maintain productivity and protect sensitive information. Right? Coming to mental health and well-being support, promoting mental health and well-being should be a priority for the organizations of remote employees. Because employers can offer resources like, employee assistance programs, maybe some counseling sessions, mindfulness workshops, wellness initiatives. This will foster a supportive work environment and a positive mental health outcome for the remote employee, right? Now, professional development and growth opportunities for remote employees, it takes the backseat. Basically, me as a person, I have been working almost over a decade now for remote work, and then I quit my job and came into my own entrepreneurship. So now I do understand, when you start working from home and you are disconnected from your office, you actually stop thriving for that professional development and growth, right? So the employers should try to virtually build training programs or skill building workshops, basically, or mentorship programs for the remote employees to feel engaged, and for the career progression, they are fully valued and invested in. They should feel that value and connection to the organization. Finally, the inclusion and connection part also is relative to the last point, but I still took it up separately because remote employees should feel connected to the team and organization despite their physical distance. Hence, team building activities like maybe social events, collaborative, those Diwali parties, creative opportunities, cross-team collaborative, workshops. All of this can actually start building a rapport interdepartmental and within the team also. So it basically helps you holistically to encompass a work-life balance. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, when it comes to remote employees, mostly after pandemic, we have seen a huge rise in work from home and remote work, right?
Yeah.
So, do you think we have seen more burnout since then? Than it was long time before. Like burnout is more seen in today's culture, right?
Yes, it is. It is. Burnout is more in today's culture, specifically for remote employees. It's a major problem. So, there can be certain ways or certain strategies that a person can build around it, by setting up a routine, a morning routine, a closure routine, by enhancing that will not only enhance their work-life balance, but also prevent those burnouts. Because what happens is, when we tend to start work from home, there's a very blurred line between our professional and personal life. Because if there is, say, a parent, a mother working from home because of a child, her focus and attention will always keeps, focus keeps shifting from her work to her child, or there are in-laws who are there at home. Her focus will always keep shifting. So to help her being able to work with sanity, with focus, it's very important that the employee herself or himself starts maintaining exclusive workspace, exclusive work hours away from their family, in-laws, children, so that they does not disturb that person when he or she is professionally involved in a task, in a project. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you
Yes.
agree?
Yes, exactly. Can you tell me some of the reasons why most people who are working from home experience this burnout? Like, I know some, for example, social isolation probably can be one of the reasons, right? But what are the other reasons?
Well, see, as I said, one is we ourselves start creating the problem. I'll tell you why, because when I started working from work from home for the first time, I started working remotely. The first challenge I faced was that I was not able to clearly set boundaries between my work and life. Because my kids were small, I was facing a lot of challenges technically, really to reach out or to, attend all the meetings on regular basis and manage my kids and also deliver my deliverables on time. I was actually not able to set that clear boundaries because I was naive, of course, and I was not even experienced enough to understand where the challenge I was facing. So first is work-life balance is very important. And that work-life balance comes from you yourself. So starting in the morning, focusing a time totally for yourself is so important. You have to understand that you have to set a routine and separate your work life and personal life and work time, personal time, and keep your suggested workspace away at a different corner of your house so that it is not disturbed by anyone else in the house. And the family members are also, instructed or told that, these hours I should not be disturbed. That really helps them create that work-life balance. One. Number two, even the routine, the time, workspace, dedicated workspace, and define clear work hours. Work hours and workspace is very important. Number two, communicating the same, communicating your work time to your bosses, to your managers, to your colleagues is also a very effective way of maintaining that productivity and leading to any kind of miscommunication with your seniors or with your colleagues. Because that is a very important time that when you are dedicating only to your work, you're brainstorming, you are creating a collaborative effort, you're proactively participating in some official engagements, works, tasks. You should not be disturbed the same way. You should communicate with the same to your bosses as well. Right? Next is workload and time management. Workload and time management is also a very important factor which many of us don't understand, or we kind of underestimate, because time management, we don't get a lot of time management workshops, but I think remote employees should be trained with these highlighted points right before or once they are being onboarded. If they are helped with some time management tools to help them prioritize and set their clear goals for the day, decide on a task list for the day, or end of the day you tick off all the tasks done. Anything that is remaining you have to focus on the very next day. These resources of productivity and strategy building, if that can be offered right in the beginning when the employees join an organization with remote work, I think that will ease off a lot of pressure. Right? I think, these 4 pointers, but social isolation also, just because you picked that topic up, it's a very, very favorite topic for me, because me and my colleagues used to discuss a lot when we got into this remote work. We hardly had time to go out of the house. It used to be over a week, we could not meet, we could not see things. But that is again, it's if I set boundaries, if I set time for myself, I think that is enough. So you have to be specifically open to chats, to calling up your friends, or to build a community, be a part of cultural practices or some hobby classes, whichever you feel free or you feel interested about. Because if you don't push yourself, nobody will. So social isolation, to remove yourself from social isolation, you have to be proactive, and that will come through your inner push. That's all.
And I believe when we were working from home, our health also, we stop taking care of our health, right? We do binge eating. We don't go out for walks. So how can remote workers stay physically active and maintain a healthy lifestyle when they are working from home?
That is so apt. Such a good question, Deepshi, because this was also, I think, the question you just asked is also a case which happened during the pandemic of 2 years. You remember? Most of us were doing our work from home. All of us were binge eating into all those OTTs. And most of us have only gained weight. Hardly, very few of us who could keep themselves well motivated. So even for this, I would list you out like a few pointers, but I think there are many to it which we can add on and on. But I always do this even with my clients, they know me. So I always start backward, okay? So the first and very important is prioritizing our sleep time, sleep cycle basically. Prioritizing our sleep cycle is so important. I can't tell you. As we call it a beauty sleep, it is not just beauty like on skin beauty, it's skin deep beauty. Our body's detoxification happens when we sleep on time. Our entire stress, mental, physical, physiological stress also reduces immensely when we have a fixed time to go to sleep and wake up from sleep, right? So prioritizing a sleep cycle for a remote employee is highly essential. So they must prioritize their sleep, and they should have that irrespective of a weekday or weekend. We generally try and skip on weekends, but I always suggest please follow it through the entire week. Even on weekends, try not to delay over 10:30, 11ish. Okay, that is one. Number two is staying hydrated throughout the day, because if you're doing a work from home, even with the AC on, you're actually getting dehydrated every second. So keep a bottle of water right in front of you, and the simplest thumb rule to drink water is to drink water every hour, and drink water like 500 ml every hour. But skip drinking water with your meals. No water with your meals. Give a gap of 1 hour. Post your meals, only you are supposed to drink water. So if you're hydrating yourself, if you're prioritizing your sleep, third and very importantly comes in your physical activity, to establish a physical active routine. So fitness routine, as we call it, it can be anything of your choice. It can be anything of your interest. It can be a dance class, it can be a Zumba, it can be a swimming, it can be a badminton or any other sport, yoga, Pilates, but ensure you do it regularly. Even if you're doing a work from home or a remote work, it's okay. If you are at a mediocre level, intermediate level, and you are happy to do that workout from home itself, that's fine. But I personally feel pushing yourself out of your comfort zone is very important when you're doing a work from home. So please push yourself and enroll yourself in a class. So when you go to that class and meeting 10 people and talking, you'll automatically feel a little more, in sync with others, and automatically you'll start making yourself, looking into your own physical fitness more often, right? Third, movement is very important for remote employees because we hardly move. We are all the time sitting on our chair, table, binge eating. But binge eating, again, we'll come to that point later. But sitting on the table or a chair, it's always like your movement is restricted. So every time you're taking a client call or a family call, friends call, anybody calls, the simple rule is just walk and start walking. Like just stand up from your chair and start walking. That is such a simple rule, but it really helps because it increases your step count. It increases your cardio activity. So also your body's movements, your body joints are actually moving. So it is so important to increase your movement on a daily basis whenever you get calls. Okay. Next, of course, as I was talking about binge eating. Eating is so important because when you are at home, mindless eating it just comes like a part and parcel of it, right? So out of sight, out of mind is my favorite statement. I always talk about it in my sessions. So please do not store your pantry with things which you might binge eat on, like pretzels, like biscuits, like cokes and all of that. Just remove. Keep healthier options like fruits, nuts, maybe, those wheat crackers, khakra, for example. All of these are much healthier. So, and always pre-plan your week in advance. So on weekends, pre-plan your week. Like every day we have basic 3 minimum meals, breakfast, lunch, dinner. And when you're doing a work from home, really with minimal movement, it's very important you do not have any snack in between. But if you do want to, then maybe use healthier snack options. Right? What else? Convenient alternatives. Yeah. You can also, like, if at all you are one person who wouldn't want to, like, if you are in a morning shift, then I'm sure you also have ample of time in the evening. So you can go out for a second set of, it's not a physical activity, I would say, but it's more of a short break with yourself. It can be just a simple walk. It can be walking your dog, playing with your kids, or just watering your plants and getting close to nature. When you get close to nature, spend some time with yourself at the end of the day, you feel gratitude towards everything you've done through the day. So you're connecting, your gratitude comes back to you in a better manner, right? So, I think these few strategies would actually help. And here, one more thing I would like to reiterate that if all the managers could lead by example, like every manager, they can also, create some internal team challenges like a step count challenge, water intake challenges within the team or within interdepartmental in the organization. So whenever the managers start something positive like prioritizing their own physical activity and well-being, automatically his teammates would also boil down becoming more inspired and taking care of themselves. Yeah.
Yes.
That's it.
So when talking about team challenges, so remote managers can support their team members' wellness, right? And I think technology can help with that, since when people are working from home, there's no challenges which can take place like on site, right? So in such situations, I believe wellness platforms, there are various virtual wellness platforms available out there, right? So how do you think technology can play, what role can it play in enhancing workplace wellness for remote employees?
Man, that's so true. Technology can play actually a very significant role in enhancing a workplace wellness for remote employees, especially when the resources are so easily available just at a click of our finger. Right? So, for example, our virtual fitness and wellness programs, for example, are all available through apps. There are like various range of what we call, vendors who can offer you a lot of fitness classes, wellness workshops, meditation sessions, and whatnot. Guided yoga sessions, mindfulness sessions. So, all these virtual fitness or wellness programs is one of the very good way to introduce in your technology, or technologically if you can allow your remote employees to participate in. Number two would be health and wellness mobile apps. There are so many apps, as I just talked about it in my last pointer also, that water tracking app, your diet tracking app, step count, sleep enhancing apps, all of these health and wellness apps are all, this actually can give you very customized, personalized suggestions also, like if you take some membership or something. So these can also be this can also be one of the very important pointers which can enhance workplace wellness. Third, there are online health assessments done like through surveys or through you just have to give your age, height, weight, and it will auto-calculate your BMI and give you a tailored wellness program. It will give you something like identical and tailor-made diet for you if you can, if you want. So all such health assessment, online platforms can also be utilized. Next, telemedicine and health support. Mental health support in telemedicine is also a very good breakthrough, which has come across for us technologically, which can actually help our remote employees. Because sitting all the time, like workload is sometimes too much, especially towards the end of the month when we have to deliver. We have to complete our deliverables. Our deadlines are near. That point of time when there is some requirement at home or for yourself, telemedicine apps and the mental health support systems of various appointments which you can simply click and they'll deliver at home, or just online you can consult a doctor. These are so much more easier accessibility towards your healthcare. Right? Of course, virtual coaching and counseling is another important factor which we must throw light on, because people do need support mentally many times, and they feel very, we are not yet open enough to listen to our employees, our colleagues. So if such virtual coaching counseling sessions can also be, given for our employees, it will also open up, it will actually help break down the barrier between feeling such suffocated and not being able to talk to someone. That will also help. Right? Lastly, I would talk about webinars and educational resources. If that can be like, there are lots of like Mayo Clinic, American Heart Institute Association, American Heart Association, all of these, Diabetic Association, American Diabetic Association, even such NIN in India, ICMR in India, all these bigger organizations have a lot of role in blogs and lot of articles which can be given and can be open for our employees to help them read through in their spare time, right? And these resources will actually empower the employees to take ownership of their own well-being, because it is, after all, it is their willingness that will make them stay healthy. But that availability if given a chance and the availability is with them, I think they will be much more motivated to utilize them.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so leveraging this technology effectively, I think employers can create a supportive virtual wellness ecosystem for their remote employees.
Okay, so we are almost at the end of the session. So let's discuss this last question, which is, what are some effective ways for remote employees to disconnect from work and set boundaries to prevent workplace stress outside of working hours?
To prevent work-related stress outside working hours and effectively disconnecting them from work, here I would obviously give a few strategies, few pointers. But here it has to be from both the parties, from the employees and the employer, both. For example, let me first list it out and then I can give you the example. First can be establishing a dedicated workspace, as I always say, because when you work as a remote employee, you just can't work sitting on your bed, on a couch. I mean, you can sometimes take a break and work from your bed if you're not well. But if you're always working from bed, you will actually not feel focused. I mean, there's a scientific reason to it. If your spinal cord is straight, if you're sitting in a proper chair and table, arrangement, that gives you a better focus, better, effectiveness in your work. But when you're sitting on bed, on a couch, and not even dressed well, I also say whenever you're a remote employee, ensure you're dressed well. It's not that since you're working from home, you can simply be in your pajamas and work. It's very important that we establish a dedicated workspace with a proper work chair table, properly placed, like an ergonomical chair and table, which does not give you a backache or headache or whatsoever. Second, set a specific working hours. Define your clear work hours and stick to them. And also ensure that you do not reply or respond to your work-related messages post your work hours. Once you shut down. Do not go back to work. Right? Number 3, always ensure to use separate devices for your work and for your personal use. That will ease off half your problem. If you use a separate phone for your work and a separate phone for your personal space, you know that after your work time, you are going to switch off or put it on aeroplane mode, your work phone. And even it is too important, there might be something important, but you can keep it open. So you will not always keep, going back to that work phone when you're off your work time. So using separate devices is so important. And next, I would also say it's important to disable your work notifications as well. Like after your work hours, like on my phone, my set work hours are from 9 to 8. And after that, I don't take any calls. Whether it's relatives, whether it's work, I don't care. I don't take any screen time only after that. So that dedicated disabling your work notifications or any kind of notification is very important. Because we all are so much exposed to these infrared radiations nowadays, 24/7 around Wi-Fi. It's very important that we ensure to cut off ourselves intentionally. Right? Of course, what I was talking about earlier, I would like to reiterate again, is creating a shutdown routine. So answering your mails, taking all your tasks done, sending maybe a report at the end of the day to your manager, to your team, or collaborative effort that you've done, just ensuring that you have completed your work for the day and ensuring that now this is my shutdown time, now this is my routine, now I'm going off or shutting down my computer. If you do not shut down your computer, just close it. It will be like you're really not giving yourself that kind of importance. Your work has much importance because your laptop is also working. It's an electronic device, not as a human, but it should also be shut down, like really shut off and switch it off, and that will automatically avoid checking any kind of mails, resisting or tempting to go back and do some work. That automatically creates the boundaries. Also, post-work, try to limit your social media interaction, at least not on social handles, but you can of course go and meet in person to your friends, to your relatives. Meet them in person if possible, but please stay out of e-books, out of social media, because that will again increase your screen time. And entire day we are on screen, especially for remote employees. They are all the time on the screen. So please cut off and stay away from social media. Last but not the least, I would like to focus on this very pointer. Staying active and practicing mindfulness. So staying active, as I earlier also mentioned, that any kind of physical activity that interests you or that makes you feel lively, you sweat at the same time, is a very good way to engage in a regular physical activity. And when you are at home, it's very important you dedicate that time to yourself, because you cannot just keep working for home and for your professional environment. You need to work on yourself also. Self-care and staying active goes hand in hand. Second, practicing mindfulness or meditation. So mindfulness to me is right now as well. Like I'm talking to you, it is like with my 100% focus, I am mindfully talking to you. Similarly, anything you do, if you can dedicate that particular way, we try to multitask many a times. We actually don't need to. Humans cannot multitask. And very few people relate to it, because my kids always keep telling, Mama, I'm multitasking. And I can't just focus enough that we can't multitask. We will fail in one of the jobs if we try to multitask. You can only do one job at a time. Put your 100% of your effort in anything that you're doing right now. And similarly, meditation also means you're putting that 100% effort in whatever you're doing. So it can be incorporated in your eating, in your work, in your workout, in your daily routine. So just try to be present in the moment, try to feel grateful in that very moment, and try to, go through each moment that it takes you through. These are experiences. Just enjoy and flow with it. Just don't do it just because you're working not just for the salary, but you're also doing it for your intellect, for your passion, for your belongingness, right? So just ensure that you practice mindfulness and gratefulness more often than anything else. I think that should set the bar.
Thank you so much, Ananya, for sharing such beautiful insights. It was a great session. I hope you also had a great time with us.
I loved it. I loved each question, and I tried to answer to the best of my effort. If you still have any questions, do let me know. But yes, I think we had a great session, and I'm grateful that I got to be a part of Vantage Fit for the first time. But I loved it. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
It was our pleasure to host you today. Thank you so much for giving us your valuable time. Hope to connect with you probably on a different topic this time.
Sure, Deepshik. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Vantage Fit Corporate Wellness Podcast. Please do subscribe to Vantage Fit Corporate Wellness Podcast on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and our YouTube channel for new episodes.